Everyone, need your attention, please. I'm gonna burn this place to the ground.
The Beekeeper is a slice of old school action. If you love Charles Bronson movies, if you love sort of those old Arnold Schwarzenegger movies from the 80s and those action thrillers of the 70s, you will love David Ayer's The Beekeeper. It stars Jason Statham, and he just goes insane, murdering, destroying, savaging scammers in this film. If you have never been scammed, this is kind of the catharsis that you'll get watching this movie, is going, wow, I wish I could do this to the people that scammed me. That premise, it goes fantastic with The Beekeeper because it follows an actual beekeeper, Adam Clay, played by Jason Statham, who protects this older woman, Eloise Parker's farm and her bees, and then she gets scammed and loses her entire life savings, an entire charity account with millions of dollars because of these people that had this sort of software that got installed on her computer. Through the film and that action, he goes back into reverts into his actual beekeeper, which is this sort of governmental, outside of governmental agency that has these people that protect the hive, meaning all of us, from bad actors like this. And he just goes right into it, and just the bad guys get just destroyed. And it's so satisfying to see an action movie where, I know a lot of people say about Jason Statham, oh, well, he doesn't get his ass kicked enough. He gets his ass kicked a pretty good amount in this film, particularly in the last quarter of it. But for the first 3/4 of the film, he is just so satisfyingly destroying bad guys that you'll be sitting there watching with a big dumb grin on your face, because that's just what this movie will do. It's just that kind of action film. As for the other characters in the film, Derek Danforth, who's the owner, operator of these scamming companies, played by Josh Hutcherson, against type, he is so just awful, and is just one of those people that if you asked him, oh, what do you do? He'd probably say back to you, what don't I do? And he's just that kind of tech bro that you want to punch in the face. And his sort of protector boss is played by Jeremy Irons, who gets all of these other people going and tries to warn him, hey, Adam Clay, the beekeepers are not people to mess with. And Josh Hutcherson's character, obviously being the tech bro that thinks he's invincible, does, in fact, try to mess with the beekeeper, and it doesn't work out well for him. Outside of that, we've got Agent Verona Parker, who's played by Emmy Raver Lampman, and her partner, Agent Matt Wiley, who's played by Bobby Nadiri. And their characters, they're kind of here as like the FBI plants. You know, they're there to move the plot along a little bit, but whenever it switches to them, it feels like the movie just slams on the brakes, and you're like, please give me more of Jason Statham. I don't want to see these people doing their bureaucratic duty. And their scenes just aren't punchy enough. Like, in other movies, you know, in Death Wish 1 and 2, the sort of cop that's going after Charles Bronson's character, he's so lame that it works. Here, they're just kind of lame, and not in like a funny way. It's just like they're kind of blasé. The performers are fine, they do a good job, but it feels like they're just here to be the bureaucratic wall between Adam Clay and the rest of the world, and then they're also just there to do the, oh, are they going to catch him at the end or not kind of scene, and it just doesn't really work. It's the only part of the film that I felt really dragged it down just a bit. The other thing about the film is that there is a sort of twist that, depending on... Actually, it doesn't really matter which side or whatever political representation you are. It just kind of feels like it didn't need to be there. It could have just been Derek Danforth's mother is a certain person, and it feels like she could have just been a nameless, faceless, whatever government person, and it would have worked just as fine without this, like, unnecessary twist to the proceedings. Now, here's for the fun part, because there's a part in this film where Jason Statham is in a barn, and there's these idiotic, moronic bad guys that come in to try to stop him and kill him and capture him for Derek Danforth, and it is just shot and lit and almost edited like it's a horror movie. Like, Jason Statham could be Jason Voorhees just stalking camp counselors here, and it would work. If you could edit this part of the film, you could edit it into a horror movie and it would be perfect, because he just shows up in the background, in the shadows. The guys are all crapping their pants like they're, like, you know, running around getting chased by Freddy Krueger or something here. And it just works so well that Jason Statham is such a force of nature in this film, because we're in this sort of action phase where, you know, everything has to be like John Wick, and it's like, oh, the action star has to get the ass kicked, and everybody wants to see it, and we don't have this sort of throwback performance where it's like, no, no, no. We want to see an hour and a half of a good guy beating and destroying the living crap out of bad guys, and it helps that it's also that he's beating the crap out of destroying, burning, lighting up, whatever, scammers. Because there's a prevalence of scammers in our lives these days anyway, and so it's just a masterstroke by David Ayer and Kurt Wimmer, the writer, here to just write that as part of this movie. You'll be watching it the entire time and you'll want, hey, I want to see The Beekeeper 2. I want it because there's more mythology here. It's crazy. David Ayer adds in this level of mythology to the Beekeepers that you're like, wait, hold on, I want to know more about this. And it does sort of set up for a sequel. There could be a sequel, but I want to see a sequel to The Beekeeper. I want to see a Beekeeper versus Beekeeper battle, because you do get a little bit of that in this, but it's kind of, on the scale of action scenes in the movie, it's one of the less thrilling, tense ones. It does feature a pretty cool set piece, but I want to see more of it because there's so much mythology to this organization that works outside of government control, that works to protect people. It just sounds so goddamn cool that we need more of it. We need more of it like this. So if you like these old school action vibes and you want to see Jason Statham really just go crazy for an hour and a half, you got to go see The Beekeeper. It releases in theaters this Friday, December 12th. You have to go see it. It's such a fantastic action movie that we need at a time where, you know, there's not that many movies out, and there's not that many movies that make you feel good about people just getting their asses kicked. So go see The Beekeeper in theaters, and if you like this movie review, you want to see more, check out this playlist right here. It's got all of my movie reviews. I've done so many of them in the past year.